All right, guys. How y'all doing tonight? What is going on? How is your week? This is the Club of Demand 1993. We are live for my live review of this past Saturday's pay-per-view, WWE Clash at the Castle 2022. First, before I move forward, let me just clear some air here. Yes, I am very behind on my content right now. It was just very busy week. Had a lot of things going on for Labor Day. Work was a killer this week. It was a busy week at work for me. And the opportunities I had to start getting caught up, I was just beat. I was going to try to catch up last night a little bit after I got home from work. But my internet was iffy. My internet was very, very iffy last night. So I didn't want to chance it. But of course tonight, my plan tonight is I'm doing Clash at the Castle now. I have a turn alert to do. I have a couple non-YouTube things that I do have to take care of. So since that's going to take a little bit of time anyways, I'll do that stuff during SmackDown. If I'm still up for it after SmackDown, I will do my all-out review. And then, of course, probably throughout the next couple days, I still have my Raw review, my AEW Dynamite review from this past week. Try to get the finale of Seinfeld done, and of course, my last part of my Harry Potter Let's Play done. And I do kind of want to do... I'm tempted to do live reactions to a match that took place at NXT Worlds Collide. I'm not watching the whole show, but I keep hearing there was a match between Ricochet and Carmelo Hayes that was incredible. So I plan on doing all that. I will say this though. I know when I get to the AEW reviews, there's going to be lots and lots of controversial things to talk about from all the drama that happened. Let me put it this way. Here's what I will say. When I do my all-out review, that's just going to be based on the show only. The stuff with the fallout, with the media scrum, and the suspensions, and everything else happening, I'm going to save that for when I get to my Dynamite review. Because personally, I did enjoy All Out. I know from the fallout, it hurt the show, of course. But I actually was very pleased with how All Out went. I want to just focus this stream more so on Clash the Castle, and the AEW drama will more so be so for the Dynamite review. When I do All Out, again, I want to not base that review off of the Fallout drama. But that's my plan of how I want to do this. So first, let's focus on Clash at the Castle 2022. It took place this past Saturday, September 3rd, 2022, at Principality Stadium in Cardiff, Wales. This was the first show where the full card was all Triple H. I mean, yes, we were supposed to be getting Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre before Vince retired. But this was all Triple H booking the build to this show. It was a 6-match card, well 7 because there was a pre-show match. I didn't watch it, but I also did not watch the show live. I waited till the evening so that way I could watch it with my friends. So that was that. My overall thoughts on Clash the Castle. Very fun show. I enjoyed it. Didn't really hate any matches. There was some that I felt could have been a little bit better than they were. There was a big mistake I felt made on the show. We'll get to that later on. And of course, I gotta say, what happened at the very end after the main event, I don't know why that was on live TV. That should not have been recorded live. That if you wanted to save that for like exclusive footage or just some for the fun of it, cool. I didn't like how they did that like live and it was actually part of the actual pay-per-view. This was a great show. I would have definitely given it a higher grade, but I'm sorry, I think they made a huge mistake with who went over in that main event. I'm sorry. I think, you know, it was a big missed opportunity that Triple H should have capitalized on. I'm sorry. It's my opinion. If you disagree, that is fine. But we will go through the matches. We will talk about what all happened. And we will go from there. So live chat, we got Dakota and JR. A lot of stuff from AEW from Dakota, which again, I will read your thoughts, but like I said, I don't want to focus on that in this stream, but I will read your thoughts since you've taken the time, of course. But Dakota's saying how he thinks Tony needs to quit letting people walk over them, which I will agree. Clash was much better, quality over quantity. Do you think that Malachi Black makes his WWE return since he got released? I will talk about that, of course, when I get to that. Probably will be one thing I do talk about in the All Out review. But like I said, the media scrum drama, I'm saving that for my Dynamite review. AEW had great matches, but the booking was atrocious. Black got released, but he can't go to WWE for 90 days. Triple H was right about CM Punk in 2011. The only way WWE could have Roman win, they done the only right way to have him win with Solo Sikoa and Rhodes be the one to dethrone Roman, and Rock is set to return for Mania. Let me see here. I do agree. I mean, I'll save it before I get to the main event, but I think, you know, the way they had Roman win was a proper way to kind of give us the proper, like, you know, feeling of disappointment. Not like angry disappointment, but like heartbreaking disappointment. But I think it still, you know, gave us something to be intrigued about. And I'm still hoping to Rock returns for Mania. I heard from what it was going to be on SmackDown tonight. He's on the SmackDown. Yeah, Braun Strowman is going to be on SmackDown tonight. So of course we'll see how that goes tonight. But I'm going to keep moving. Like I said, most of that AEW stuff I'm going to comment in my Dynamite review. We'll leave there. But again, thank you guys for joining me, and feel free to leave your thoughts in the comment section. I think on the pre-show we had a match between Madcap Moss and the Street Profits team up against Mr. Money in the Bank, Austin Theory, and the Alpha Academy and the Babyfaces won. As you know, you kind of expected, basically, or so. I don't know, but that was on the pre-show. The main show kicked off with the 6-woman tag match. Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka teamed up to take on. They're officially called Damage Control and have their own theme, which is pretty nice. Bayley, Io Sky, and Dakota Kai. Again, I do like how, you know, they've officially given them a name. I do like how they've given their own theme song. Like, you know, they feel, you know, unique, their own brand. The match was not too bad. I would say it was solid. I mean, I did like the build. Like I keep saying, I feel like the way Damage Control has been built, it's giving me vibes of like a women's version of the Undisputed Era. That's just what it feels like to me. I know it will never be as good as the Undisputed Era, but it's giving me that vibes, which is why I keep saying this should lead to some type of like a War Games match. With that being said, though, even though I feel like, they got like a little bit of like a rub being part of this, I still kind of feel this could have been a little bit better if Sasha and Naomi were Bianca's partners instead of Asuka and Alexa. I like them both, don't get me wrong. Asuka, I feel like, is more on her way back to getting to where she was in NXT. Alexa, I like her. She's improved wrestling-wise since she's returned. I just don't think her character is flat. I just still think her character is super flat, and I just don't get what she is. Like I still don't get why they have her carrying around Lily. Yet the whole idea I think was that she's controlled herself, but yeah, she still has a doll. But I don't know. I'm still confused, like what character she's supposed to be portraying. The match was still solid. Again, Bayley definitely looked better than she did in that match against Aaliyah recently. And of course, the finish was unique too. They had each member of Damage Control hit their finisher on Bianca Belair, and Bayley pinned her. So it's probably setting up a future match for Bianca and Bayley for probably Extreme Rules. I'm thinking they're probably going to have Bayley take the belt off Bianca. Because I'm pretty sure this coming week they're going to have Dakota and Io win the women's tag titles off of Raquel and Aaliyah. And then Bayley will most likely get the Raw women's title. And of course, who knows from there. I don't know if this means, of course, that Sasha and Naomi are coming back or not. Because I see they're doing some other things right now. They did some like modeling thing or whatnot. But I don't know. I do not know. Again, I thought that the bill for this was great. Like I said, I think it could have been a little bit better though if Sasha and Naomi were Bianca's partners instead. Not saying Alexa and Asuka were not good picks. They did solid. I just think it would have been a little bit better if they would have had Sasha and Naomi as Bianca's partners instead. But that was the opening match. Solid opener. Next up is probably the match of the night. We had this Intercontinental Championship match. Gunther, the Intercontinental Champion, taking on the Celtic Warrior, Sheamus. Before the match started, though, with Ludwig Kaiser doing the introduction, out with him was formerly known as Fabian Eichner, but Giovanni Vinci, I think is what he's being called now. I would love if they would, give them their normal names again. But Imperium's back together on SmackDown. I love it. I was a huge fan of Imperium in the UK, on the UK brand. I definitely has always been a big fan of, of Kaiser and Vinci as a tag team. They were excellent. I still don't know why. I mean, they're two-time NXT tag team champions. I didn't see their second run because this was when I stopped watching NXT. Their first run was very forgettable because they did nothing with them. I still think they would have been better off being the NXT UK tag champs, to be honest. I still don't get why they didn't put the tag titles on them, and they said they put them on Gallus. Which, I like Gallus, don't get me wrong, but, the time to put the titles on them had passed. Imperium was like the new dominating stable on the UK brand. But I really like the fact that they have that tag team reunited. That's another great issue to the tag team division. Again, we needed tag teams. You got one right there. Giovanni Vinci and Ludwig Kaiser. Maybe they'll give them their actual names back. Who knows? Because we have Matt Riddle being called Matt Riddle again. Austin Theory is back to being Austin Theory. And Tommaso Ciampa is Tommaso Ciampa again. So it could happen. Who knows? But this match. Let's just say first off, at the end of this match, I thought Sheamus, his chest was more red than his hair. This was exactly... I mean, a lot of people were hoping for an Ilya Dragunov and Walter match. If you haven't seen their two matches, the first one from, I think it was the October 29th, 2020 edition of NXT UK, and their second one was that TakeOver 36 last year. Excellent matches where Walter and Dragunov chopped the piss out of the other. Before the match started, actually, I think we had another brawl. This time it was 3-on-3 since Imperium was reunited. But we had a brawl with Ridge Holland, Pete Dunne. Yes, he's still Butch, but he's getting his Pete Dunne look again. So that is a good sign of things to come. And then, of course, Kaiser and Vinci as well brawled. And, of course, while they brawled, Sheamus and Gunther just stared each other down. I loved those stare downs. But, of course, from that brawl, everybody was out of the equation, and it was just one-on-one. There was no interferences or whatnot, and man, did it look like these guys beat the piss out of each other. It was hard-hitting, it was vicious, and I could even say this too, because I was watching it with my friend Daniel Gaiza, who, he used to do YouTube on here, hasn't for a long time, but he's never seen much of of Gunther, besides, I think the only match he's seen of him, besides when he was on Team NXT in 2019 for Survivor Series, I think the only match he's really seen of him was main roster. He's never seen any of his other matches. He didn't see him and Dragunov's matches at all. But again, he's booked right where he needs to be. I love this. This match was just incredible. It was hard-hitting, as you expected, but as I was getting to before, I don't think Gunther's ever taken on somebody his own size. I think he may have taken on Cassius Ohno, when he first came, and he was just getting started. But other than that, when he's at his best, I don't think he's ever taken on somebody his own size. Because Sheamus is 6'4", 260, somewhere around what Gunther is. But the hard hitting, this was a fight. This was a classic fight. The 10 beats of the Bound Drum, going on the announce table, over the barricade and whatnot. I think Sheamus kicked out of one of the power bombs, I think it was. But these guys beat the piss out of each other. It's exactly what I wanted to see. I mean, this is one of those feuds that I don't know if you could even put a stipulation on it to make it better. I mean, weapons would be neat, but I feel it's one of those fights where it's you don't need weapons to see how violent it could be. Again, they were incredible. I love this. I absolutely love this match. And again, I still think it was match of the night. Afterwards, actually, the crowd gave a standing ovation to Sheamus. And I've always said this. Sheamus is definitely one of my personal favorites. Again, I get it. He hasn't... This is probably the first classic he may have put on in his career. But he's a brawler. He's probably one of the best workers WWE has had. He deserves a lot more recognition than he gets. So I was glad to see that he kind of got the standing ovation. I don't know if this is going to mean that he's a babyface now or not. But quite personally, I still think he's better off as a heel. We'll have to wait and see. I don't know that this feud between Gunther and Sheamus will continue. I mean, if you want to do a series of matches, I'm not opposed to it. I just think this is a feud also that you really don't need any what's it called now? You don't really need stipulations. But we'll have to wait and see. But Gunther retains, as expected. Who will dethrone him? I don't know. Of course, there is rumors of one person, but I don't want to spoil what is to come. But yes, definitely a classic. Definitely, in my opinion, the best match of this show. It was pretty much what we wanted. It was up there. I would still say Gunther's matches with Dragunov were a little bit better than this. Probably because you didn't expect a guy as small as Dragunov and who has had the emotional side of his character. It gives it a little bit more of an edge over Sheamus, but this was almost right up there with it. Again, it was incredible. Love this match. That was probably, in my opinion, the weakest match of the show. The SmackDown Women's Championship match between Liv Morgan and Shayna Baszler. This was decent. It wasn't a horrible match. My biggest gripe with this, well, first off, no Ronda. I heard rumors that Ronda was not able to get overseas. I'm not sure why, but Ronda was not going to be showing up, which I thought could happen, especially since her suspension was lifted on the taped version of SmackDown last Friday. But I thought they could have had her appear in this to make it make more sense, even though it's this weird booking, like Ronda's supposed to be a heel now, but yet she's getting probably the biggest reaction she's gotten all year. The other thing that kind of bothered me about this was I felt like Shayna sold way too much for Liv. I feel like she wasn't as dominating as I felt she should have been in this match. She wasn't. I mean, and I get it. You do want to keep Liv a babyface. Liv should be a babyface. I'm sorry. I don't think Liv could pull off being a heel. She's a babyface. But you are heading into a direction, like I keep saying, this whole title reign, you kind of got backed into a corner with. And I get they're trying to avoid, going the wrong way, but I don't think they're doing much to help her. Yes, she won the match clean. I was surprised that happened. But Shayna sold way too much for her, I thought, in this match. But I guess you had to give Liv some sort of like a clean victory over like someone reasonable. But in reality is you look at this match, you look at the history. I just still see Shayna Baszler being, like I want to see what we got in NXT from Shayna Baszler. Again, it's been too long since we've seen that. I was kind of hoping this would kind of like get her back on track with that. I don't think it quite did. I don't think it quite did. Don't get me wrong, I love Liv. I think they more so need to take the belt off of her and just not start over from scratch with her, but just give her a direction. Like, give her some type of, give her a few, all she needs to do is get the title off of her, give her a few wins to kind of, get back on track. Kind of like how back when Cedric Alexander lost the Cruiserweight Championship. And they didn't give him his rematch right away. They had him, I think, do a couple matches just to get his head back in the game, basically. And then he got his title. I think if you can do something like that with Liv, that's really all you got to do. But, I don't know. I just still felt that they could have at least had Shayna look a little more dominant. Especially if Liv had a bad arm. Like, you would think somebody like Shayna Baszler, who is like a technical machine, like a submission machine and whatnot, you would have thought she would have worked on the bad arm of Liv a little bit more. It's just what I thought. I know, I see Dakota mention something about having Shayna not making the champion look too weak. I get that, but in reality is, again, my thing is we're still fixing these characters that got Vince McMahon, how am I supposed to say this? There's still, the work of Vince McMahon on some of these characters. Some of them, like Kevin Owens, you were able to turn around pretty quick. Some of them do, need the time to rebuild. And, like I said, that's the reason why I think we had to, go with taking the belt off of Liv and just freshen her up again. That way she looks stronger going in as champion. Just my opinion. But we'll have to wait and see. Let's take a break, check the live chat. I see there's a lot of people in the live chat. Let me see here. We see what we got here. I think we were at... here. Dakota says Sola is facing Drew tonight. Everyone said have him win to make him look strong to dethrone Gunther, which I could see happening, of course, for sure, especially if they're expanding the bloodline. Don't want to get too far in spoiler alerts. We got Tyler. Drew should have won the belts. We'll get to that shortly. Split both the world and tag titles. Yes. I think that will be coming. Triple H saved the mid-card titles, which he's definitely doing with, Bobby Lashley and Gunther putting on some pretty good matches. Who replaces McAfee on SmackDown commentary? I heard Ronaldo may return, or Wade Barrett comes up, or Booker T. Wait, is Pac gone? I mean, bringing back Morrow, excellent, but is Pac gone? I love Pat. Hopefully he's not gone. But I would definitely love to see Mauro come back. Tyler and Dakota are talking about their opinions on Liv and Charlotte, and of course Fire Horseface. I don't know. Again, I don't know when Sasha's coming back, and I still don't know if she's going to AEW or if she's going to WWE. I don't know, especially with the latest drama with AEW. I don't know what she'll be doing. I have no clue. Again, I don't know if Sheamus is a babyface yet. I agree the time was perfect on that pin. You can't have Shayna dominate too much, then your champ looks too weak. I already made that before. Is Ricochet in NXT now? I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if it was just just a brief thing, but maybe they put him back down there. Who knows? But he was starting to get momentum back in SmackDown. I thought Jericho should be the world champion. Like I said, we'll save AEW comments for later. Oh, Pat left for football season. I didn't hear that. Wow, rats. I'll miss him. Heard Young Bucks Omega will go to WWE if AEW don't get better. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But we'll continue on. Next match, though. Edge and Rey Mysterio teaming up with Dominic Mysterio in the corner of his father and longtime friend, somewhat of an uncle to him, as we've seen on Raw this past week, taking on the Judgment Day's Finn Balor and Damian Priest. Match was good. I do feel like, though, this whole thing with, Rey and the Judgment Day is getting too long. I would like to move on to something else, but it's not quite the case. The match was good, especially the last portion of the match with how fast-paced it was, with Dominic interfering and helping them out beat the Judgment Day. Edge and Rey win. They pin the Judgment Day, which, I'll be honest, I do kind of think Judgment Day should have won this. Because, no offense, how many more tag matches are we going to be doing involving Rey Mysterio and the Judgment Day lose? I get it, there was set up for the swerve to happen after, because what happened after the match, Dominic got in the ring. Rey and Edge were celebrating with him, because Dominic did help them out. Even though it kind of looked like Dom was healing up a little bit even beforehand with how he helped them out. I mean, yes, he's got some personal issues at the time with the Judgment Day. What happened after the match? Well, during the match also got mentioned too. Someone finally took down Rhea, and it was Rey, but they basically had Rey, because Rhea had Dominic held in her arms. Dominic had Poppy held him in his arms, or whatever you want to say it. The jokes about Rhea and Dom are just all off the charts. But Rey did a dive. He had basically put his feet into Dominic's back to knock down Rey. After the match, though, Rey and Dominic and Edge were in the center of the ring. Rey, Dominic seemed to acknowledge Edge and Rey. But I guess Dominic did not forget that Edge, 1, accidentally speared him, and 2, Rey picked Edge over his own son to be in his corner against Judgment Day. Because Dominic finally turned. He finally turned and kicked Edge in the balls. Knocking the wind out of the Hall of Famer. And of course, Rey's like, son, don't do this. Please don't do this. Please don't do this. And at first when he did, I thought, okay, maybe it's going to be this thing where, maybe, because I don't know, because I still think, if you want to do Rey versus Dominic, the best way to do it is at WrestleMania. That's a WrestleMania match, for sure. Give, Dom more time to build the character, and then, it was more so of okay, he turns on everybody else, but he doesn't 100% turn on his own father, but you start showing the cracks. Nope! He completely turned on Daddy and bam, clotheslined him. And then as he's walking out of the ring and fans are booing him, he's ripping off his Mysterio shirt and just like tossed it out, and he walked out shirtless. So yep, Dominic finally turned heel. Although, I'll save it for my turn alert. I liked how they did it. Couple little nitpicks about it though. But I will save it for my Dominic turn alert I will do. But the same little boy who Eddie Guerrero and Rey were wrestling over in a ladder match over custody for. That little boy's a big boy now. And he's turning heel and doing his own thing now. But who's he doing with? Also, just gotta say, the reaction from the Judgment Day was just hilarious. The way Finn and Damian and Rhea were all laughing, the way it went when Dominic had turned, it was priceless. I loved it. It was hilarious. That could easily be a GIF. We went from that match, though, to then this match. Seth Rollins versus Matt Riddle. Again, that's right. Matt Riddle is back to being Matt Riddle. I wish he would not have come out with the scooter. I think like, if you really are going to shed off, the comedy side of it, get rid of the scooter. And also, can we please get rid of like whatever animals like run off whenever he flaps his flip flops off? I'm sorry, I can't. That's a Vince thing. It drives me nuts when they do that. It really does. Also, Seth Rollins. Did Seth Rollins become Fox the Phoenix from Harry Potter? Because he came out like with like this big red costume. He looked like a phoenix. I just saw him come out. I'm like, that's Fox the Phoenix from Harry Potter. Although we love Fox and Phoenix tears do give healing powers, but I don't think. Well, Seth Rollins wants to believe he's like a leader. He's a revolutionary. Like, so I guess that would fit him in some ways, but. We're supposed to not like Seth Rollins, but we can't hate Fox the Phoenix. But the match was what I thought it would be for a singles match between them. Like a personal fight and whatnot. Of course, nothing close to being as good as Sheamus and Gunther, of course. But the match was, I thought, what exactly it needed to be. Like it was personal. They didn't like just stare at each other. Like as soon as the belt they were able to, they were just going at each other. And again, I like how, of course, they're going to continue the feud, which I think is great, even though Seth Rollins says, nope, he's moving on, bye-bye. But I like how, as I keep saying, of all the matches, this match I still think had the best build. I think it was a great idea to do what they did at SummerSlam, to put, make this more personal, especially, of course, with that satellite interview they did on Raw not this past week, but on the Go Home show, whenever they started, F-bombing each other about dissing on their families and whatnot. But I like how, again, Seth got the emotions out of Riddle. He swung that chair on him. He swung that chair at him when his head was on the announce table. And, of course, Rollins got out of the way. But because of that, it caused Matt to chase after Rollins. When he got back in the ring, and it looked like that, he was just about to, finally rip his head off. Curb stomp. And then Rollins, I don't think he's ever done this before, climbs up to, the second rope, jumps off of it, and hits a second curb stomp for good measure. And he pins Matt Riddle to win the match. I don't think I've ever seen Seth Rollins go up on a higher elevation for the curb stomp. I thought it was neat how he did that. But even though Seth Rollins is saying that he's done with Matt Riddle, he's moving on from him, this ain't over. I really, really think this should be the Extreme Rules match at Extreme Rules. If they don't do Extreme Rules, give it at least Falls Count anywhere. But I think with how personal this feud has gotten, I still think Extreme Rules. I can't wait to see what they do next with these two, because it's again this is definitely one of the best stories going on in the company right now. End of the year, of course, as well. So yeah, I'm hoping it leads to more. a bigger match, which I'm sure it will. Give it Extreme Rules. Give it Extreme Rules, and it will be fabulous. In my opinion. Heck, I'll even say this too, because I mentioned back in Hell in a Cell how I felt that although Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins had a great, series of matches, that still did not feel like a feud worthy of Hell in a Cell. This could have been inside Hell in a Cell. This feud could definitely warrant Hell in a Cell. But of course, let's get to it. Let's get to the selling point match of this show. The main event of the evening. The Tribal Chief, the head of the table, the WWE Undisputed Universal Champion, Roman Reigns, taking on the home country hero, the Scottish Warrior, Drew McIntyre. After the video package, they played Broken Dreams, which, of course, I never really heard Broken Dreams because I wasn't watching wrestling when he was around the first time. But they played Broken Dreams as like a video package. And then they played Drew's like actual theme. Which I'm like, oh man, you couldn't have just had him come out with his Broken Dreams theme and that's it. Well, maybe if they did, I would have wanted to see him keep it, but they were playing it for a special occasion. But Drew came out and the crowd was hot for him the whole entire match. I mean, the crowd was hot on the show most of the night, but the whole match, it was a hijack. There wasn't really anybody out there who was supporting Roman at all. This was Drew's home country. He came out to a mega pop. People were chanting, "Oh, Drew McIntyre! Oh, Drew McIntyre!" And then "F you, Roman!" chants as well. Roman had the heat. Drew McIntyre had, the babyface men behind him. He got the crowd behind him. Everybody wanted him to win. Everybody. And to me, it's just like, this is his moment. This is a moment. You look at a guy, again, who was fired, went back onto the indies, started from scratch, reinvented himself, came back, won over the crowd by just telling his story. And then, pandemic happens, empty arena moment for him at WrestleMania. That sucked. Well, awesome, but it sucked to see that that's, what it had to be for WrestleMania 36. And I kept saying, Drew McIntyre deserves that moment in front of fans. I felt bad he couldn't get it at WrestleMania 37 because it was Bobby's time. But I'm like, someday, he will get that moment in front of fans he deserved. This is when that moment should have been. But before we get to that finish, the match was still great. And I know from the past, some people have said that Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre have, okay, but not as good of chemistry that they should have. I think this was probably their best match, because they had a couple of matches in 2019. They had the match at Survivor Series 2020, which was definitely their best match at the time. This was definitely their best match, in my opinion. It was great. Of course, there was no Usos. There was no Paul Heyman. No Sami Zayn, as of course the whole idea of Drew taking them out on the Go Home show on SmackDown last week was to basically, knock them down and have Roman Reigns vulnerable. And you notice for the first half of the match, Drew was kicking out at 1 a lot, which was causing paranoia for Roman Reigns. That was amazing storytelling there. And then, of course, they had Drew kick out of not 1, but 2 spears. 2 spears, and it was a journey for him just to hit a Claymore on Roman Reigns. And, of course, the trash talk and everything was incredible. And then, when he finally got a Claymore on him, it knocked down the referee. Charles Robinson, Drew Claymored Roman. I think Roman was arguing with Roman. Roman was arguing with Charles Robinson about like a 3 count or something, and Drew Claymored him from behind. I don't ever has Drew McIntyre ever claymored somebody into the back of the head before? It's always been, like in the jaw, but he got Roman on the back of the head and knocked the referee down. And then though we hear Austin Theory's music, and we're thinking, oh no, don't tell me they're going to do this now instead. But it was just a tease. Theory came down with a referee. And as he's standing right by, the timekeeper's area to give him the bell, we of course seen earlier that he was interviewed earlier, but in the front row was Tyson Fury. Bam! Knocks out Austin Theory with a right hook. Never saw Theory again for the rest of the match. So okay, even though I'm not, I still get the blah feeling thing about Tyson Fury because I hate how they booked him. Of course, when they brought him in when he feuded with Braun Strowman in 2019 for Crown Jewel, which I may actually be watching that show this year because I actually give a shit about WWE now. It looked like they knocked him out cold, and then I think Drew hit another Claymore on Roman. And he was set up perfectly to get the victory. And the referee who came out with Austin Theory jumped back in the ring. And is doing the 3 count. And it's like, this is it. This is it. This is Drew's moment. This is Drew's moment. As the referee's about to hit 3, as Dakota said, it was timed out perfectly. Referee gets yanked out of the ring, and there's someone out there dressed in a black hoodie, and I'm like, oh, who the hell did that? Who the hell did that? Hoodie came off, and I've heard the rumors for a few weeks now, but it's happened. Well, actually, before I get there, I forgot to mention, too, there was a moment during the match also where a water bottle got thrown at Drew. And first thing someone in the crowd did. Well, someone did in the crowd do it, but it was Karrion Kross. Him and Scarlett at ringside kind of playing. It seemed... I'm a little disappointed that it seemed that Kross was only really playing mind games with Drew. Because after Kross had his return segment, besides, when he stared down Roman and they gave him the hourglass, the only other time they teased anything with Karrion Kross and Roman Reigns was when they gave him those black flowers on SmackDown. This last Friday. I was hoping they would have at least had him, because now it looks like he's more so targeting Drew McIntyre, which I guess that's the feud for Extreme Rules, Karrion Kross and Drew McIntyre. But anyways, so I forgot to mention that part. So anyways, person dressed in all black pulls out the referee, and he unhoods, and it's the Usos' younger brother from NXT, Solo Sikoa. Of course, Drew snaps and is trying to pull Solo up to attack him. But off of that distraction, I think Solo yanked Drew down onto the ropes and Roman speared him. 1, 2, 3. Roman retains. And yes, I was disappointed because, here's what I will say. I still think this was a mistake. I still think, if you were ever gonna, redeem, not really redeem, but, owe a moment for Drew McIntyre for not getting his moment in front of fans at WrestleMania 36, this was definitely the right time to do it. This was definitely the right moment to do it. The crowd was behind him. It was his home country. And credit to UK fans. Another reason why I enjoyed watching NXT UK at times before. Because the UK crowds are great. They have all these chants where everybody made up. Actually, I forgot to mention earlier, back in the opening match with the women's tag match, they were doing the "Hey Bailey, ooh, ah, I wanna know if you be my girl." And of course, Bailey was on Twitter later. She says, "Guys, it's not 2015 anymore. You can't have me or whatnot, or whatever heck they was that, or it's that's over or whatnot." I like how they did that. I forgot to mention that, but again, UK crowds are always fantastic. But damn it, this should have been Drew's moment. But as disappointed as I was, as Drew not winning did affect my grade. Like, if Drew would have won, I probably would have given this like an A. But I still feel it was a missed opportunity for Drew to not win. I will give credit though and say that they had Drew lose the proper way. Not more so like, oh, we're gonna not in a way where it was like Rumble 2015 where where hashtag cancel WWE Network what was trending on Twitter. It was in a heartbreaking moment that it was the proper finish to disappoint fans. Because now we got Solo Sikoa, a new star coming in, who again I have not watched any of his matches on NXT, but obviously he's Samoan, he's related to the Usos and Roman Reigns. I'm pretty sure he's going to be awesome. It was a good way to debut him. It's a good way to get something fresh for the bloodline. Like Dakota said earlier, they could have him be the one to dethrone Gunther for the IC title. It'd be heel on heel, but cool. But damn, like this should have been Drew's moment. I really, really still think this should have been Drew's moment. I just don't know how. I just don't know what better you can do. Like WrestleMania, yes, but Cody Rhodes is probably going to win the title at WrestleMania. I mean, again, I don't know if it'll be against Roman. I still hope we get Roman versus Rock at Mania. If not Roman and Rock and Roman and Cody, I just want to be Roman and Rock at Mania. But I also don't want Roman and Rock also to be with the titles. I don't want that. If it's with the titles, then it's way too obvious Roman's going to win. I want that story where there's no titles on the line and like the doubt that maybe Roman may not win. I don't want it to be obvious, in my opinion. But 62,000 fans in your home country. I think it was a mistake. I'm sorry. I think this was the right time. Like, even if you wanted to put the titles back on Roman, like, he could have, like, given Drew a couple-month reign and had Roman win them back to Survivor Series, maybe. Or something like that. I don't know. But I just think that this was a huge missed opportunity. I mean, yes, you could argue also and say that Drew had already wrestled Roman back in Survivor Series and he didn't win. I get that, but this is a whole different story now. Roman was much more groomed than he was back then. Drew's even, different as well. I mean, yes, people probably weren't quite as hot for him. I felt the last couple of weeks they built him, they really gave him the momentum he needed to go to the show. But again, I still think this is a missed opportunity. This should have been Drew's moment. And then what also hurt it for me too was after the match. Well, first Tyson Fury came in and he shook Roman's hand. Roman left, and then he helps up Drew McIntyre, basically cutting his promo like, "Yeah, I didn't win, but it's all good." And they started singing American Pie. Like, I was confused. First off, you endorsed the heel. And then they basically went off script, live. And sung, and why sing American Pie? Like, I feel like, they should have had, they should have at least had Drew go off, looking disappointed, and getting, like, a standing ovation. If that was the case, ow, bit my tongue. Okay, but why have him, like, party around, act like it was okay that he lost, and have like a sing along? Like, that felt like something that should not been on live TV. Like that felt like a fallout or like a dark segment or something, just to have a little bit of fun before going home. But like, the moment wasn't there. I'm sorry. Like I said, it was a great match, a great main event, a great show. If they would have had it go the opposite way, this would have been a legendary show. It would have been a legendary moment for Drew McIntyre. It was making up for a moment that he didn't get to have in front of fans at WrestleMania 36. So, again, like, it hurt my grade. Like, again, great match. They had Drew lose the proper way. Damn. This should have been Drew's moment. It should have been Drew's moment. And with that being said, sorry, I pressed the stay tuned button instead of the outro button. With that being said, that is my review of WWE Clash of the Castle 2022. The best overseas show I've seen for sure. Again, I gave, Chamber this year in Saudi Arabia was not that good. I've never watched a full episode of Crown Jewel, but I'm sure this year's probably be the best. Mainly because Triple H is in charge. I think they're doing one late October, early November, I think, again. Greatest Royal Rumble was meh. Super Showdown, when I gave that a shot the first year, whenever Triple H took on The Undertaker, was meh. Yeah, definitely the best overseas show. I gave the B+. Again, the matches were great. I like that we got, storyline progressing with the women's tag match. Again, the match of the night, no doubt about it, was Gunther and Sheamus, and I love seeing Imperium reunite. The weakest match for sure was definitely Liv and Shayna for the SmackDown Women's title. Love seeing Dominic turn heel. There was a little nitpicks about it, but we'll talk about that in my turn alert for him. Matt Riddle and Seth Rollins had exactly the match they needed to have. And the main event was great. It's just Drew should have won. I still think Drew should have won. I'm sorry. Roman's had a phenomenal 740 someday title reign. But again, it was Drew's moment. It was the perfect time to give Drew that moment that he deserved. And like I said, I don't think you could do any better than 60,000 people in your hometown. I really don't. But that's just me. B+ grade I gave this show. Again, if Drew would have won, this probably would have gotten an A for me. But B+. Live chat. What we got here in the live chat before we go off the air here? I think we were at I love Dakota loves Triple H. He is making WWE look like WWE of old. Getting yeah, again, it's taking time, but he's but I definitely think there is a lot of things he's definitely already fixed pretty good. Like again, Kevin Owens. I love the stuff that's going on with him, Sami Zayn, the Bloodline. Matt Riddle is doing excellent. He's got Imperium back as well. There's a lot of things I'm liking. There's people I still hope that he, turns around. But again, we'll just have to wait and see. Let me see what we got here. No, Dominic, how could you? Who wins Monday, Edge or Dominic? I don't see Dominic winning clean. I don't see him winning clean, but I'm hoping he gets a victory over Edge. But I don't see him winning clean on Monday. But we'll talk about that more, of course, and where Dominic's going in the turn alert, and of course, on Raw, my Raw review. If Drew won, it would look like Mankind win the world title in 1999. I agree. He's happy that Braun Strowman's back. See right here. You think Broken Dreams is Drew's theme again? Unfortunately, because it was played before he came out and then played his real theme, I don't think it is. It was my first time hearing it though, but again, I thought it was unique, but I don't think it's his real theme. With that being said though, guys, great audience, great review. I'm pleased with this. Like I said, next I'm going to do my Dominic Mysterio turn alert, and then I gotta, import the graphics back in here. Well, again, I do have a couple things non-YouTube related that I need to take care of, so I'm going to work on that while I watch SmackDown, and then after SmackDown, I'll do my all-out review. Again, though, and I'll put a disclaimer in the live chat before I start. I don't want to discuss the media scrum in my all-out review. I want to save that for Dynamite, because but the show itself, I did enjoy All Out. It was better than I thought it would be. Yes, the fallout from it did hurt it, make it look kind of pointless. I want to base it off, though, about how I enjoyed it. Because, again, my thing is there's drama going on. There's so much, drama going on the internet, AEW, WWE versus AEW fans who just want to make it about that and just, hurt everyone else's excitement over it. I just want to enjoy wrestling. I enjoyed watching this show. I enjoyed All Out. Jon Moxley, though, I think is someone I'm going to be giving a lot of praise when I do my Dynamite review. Which probably won't be tonight, because I don't think I'm going to get that caught up tonight. But this is a step up. But guys, that's going to do it. That's my review of WWE Clash at the Castle 2022. Next thing I do is I'll be doing my Dominic Mysterio Turn Alert. Probably record it right after this and then upload it. And then after I get done, because again, even so, it's going to take me time to set up for the All Out review. I will review All Out tonight after SmackDown. Maybe I'll do Raw also. I don't know. We'll see, because I do have to get up early, or a little bit earlier tomorrow. I do have to be somewhere for 10:30. But yeah, we'll go from there. But once again, as I said, when I get to All Out, I want that review to be focused on the show only, not the media scrum. That'll be talked about in my Dynamite review. So guys, once again, what are your guys' thoughts on WWE's Clash at the Castle 2022? I gave the B+. What do you guys think? Make sure you guys leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. And be sure as always to slap a like on the video, subscribe for more content on our channel, follow me on Twitter as well at DemandAirboy93. And I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be my Dominic Mysterio Turn Alert. And then, of course, I will, then do my All Out 2022 review after that. So until then, guys, I'm checking out. I'll catch y'all later. Have a great rest of your night if you don't tune in again. Peace out, everybody.
No